Okay, helps if I turn the mic on. It's been a while, so forgive me for my rust. So, we have a couple things to talk about. We have a potential, the potential, I should say, for severe weather. Overnight, not a big potential. We'll talk about that. And a transition from a dry pattern to a wet pattern, at least for the next week or so. So, let's dive right into it. So, as you can see, this is the current radar. One little storm, and I say storm, kind of not really a storm in the traditional sense. Had a couple lightning strikes when it moved across Garland and parts of Saxe a few minutes ago. Nothing to be concerned about. We will talk about the bigger picture here overnight and what we can expect. So it is nothing to be terribly concerned about. It is not a it should not be a widespread severe weather event, but I think unfortunately it's going to be a situation of where we have a line of storms move in during the middle of the night, closer probably to morning, 5, 6 a.m., maybe 4 a.m., depends on where you're at. So not ideal for people that want to not wake up that early, but we may not have a choice. So, but again, not expecting anything terrible, but it's something we'll talk about. Okay, so with that, we'll just kind of move on to the bigger picture. So we'll expand this radar out a little bit. We'll talk about the shadings here in just a second, but well, actually, before we do that, we'll zoom in on this particular storm. And I say storm, that's kind of a relative term, not really a storm, but just east Allen, south of Princeton, and we'll put this in motion and moving to the northeast, probably about 35 miles an hour. Nothing to be concerned about. Now, as we expand the view out, you can see that we do have showers and thunderstorms that are a little bit more misbehaved up near Oklahoma City, southwest of Oklahoma City. And if we put this in motion, generally moving toward the east, maybe east northeast, that is along the cold front that will move through during the overnight hours, and that is what eventually will get us probably 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, so, and as always, if you have questions, just put those in the chat. So let's look at some graphics while we're talking about this stuff. All right, so as far as timing goes, I alluded to this a couple times already. We are going to see thunderstorms out west of us, northwest of us. So where you see the lightest blue, the number 1, is where you're going to see, could be as early as 11 p.m., most likely 1 to 3 a.m., ending by 4. In the little bit darker blue shading, the area labeled number 2, we will see that includes us, of course, in Dallas-Fort Worth. Could start as early as 2, as late as 8 a.m. I don't really think it's going to be that late. The most likely time frame is 3 to 7. And again, I think that's probably what we're going to look at. And so if you split the difference between the western part of the North Texas and the eastern part, you're probably talking about 5 o'clock, something like that. And we'll look at some radar simulations here in just a second. And then, of course, if you're southeast of us, then you're looking at really once the sun comes up. Now, the good news is about this particular system is it's not going to really hang around very long. So once these storms move through, not immediately, but we'll see some drier, cooler air move in behind it and see some really nice weather for Halloween. Okay, so let's talk about tonight, though, overnight hours. So this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. And as you can tell, most of the more concerning weather is up in Oklahoma, the orange shading. The yellow, of course, is slight risk. The green is marginal risk. And the lightest green is just general thunderstorms. So we are in, as you can tell, the Metroplex North, really I-20 North, is in the slight risk. And really that risk, as we'll see from the other slides, has to do with a slight tornado chance. I don't think, we haven't really, I haven't seen a lot of tornado reports anywhere. We have had some in the southern plains, but nothing around here. But there's a risk for that. These storms will want to tend to rotate a little bit. Nothing to be terribly concerned about. But there's an elevated risk, if you will, for tornadoes as compared to normal. And then we see the severe hail outlook. And again, this is hail that's inch in diameter or greater, and we are in the flight risk category for that, 15%. And again, if you don't remember, the way they look at that is if you're in a 15% risk area, which is the yellow, just means that there's a 15% chance of you seeing a 1-inch hailstone or greater within 25 miles of a point, which of course could be your house. And so that's what that means. Now the brown is a 5% chance of seeing that. So again, Metroplex North, 15% chance of that. Metroplex South and East, 5% chance of that. And the severe wind outlook, again, severe wind is 57 miles an hour or greater. And we are in the 15% category for that. And again, same thing, 15% chance of you seeing that within 25 miles of your house. So not a big chance, but obviously an elevated chance compared to normal. Okay, so kind of looking out ahead a little bit, this is our rainfall amounts between Saturday and Tuesday. And along the Red River, you see this more along the lines of a pretty good chance to where further south you go, the less chance. And DFW is kind of right in the middle, so you're talking about 1 or 2 inches, most likely 1 to 3 inches. So let's go back to the bigger picture tonight, and that's the radar. So again, you can see, put that back here, put this in motion. You can see that most of the activity is in Oklahoma. Now, as I mentioned, we are expecting that to change. Let's see if I can get that going. There we go. And so let's zoom in here a little bit. Like I said, we see these showers and occasional lightning strikes kind of pop up and then die down. There's not a lot of lift in this part of the atmosphere over North Texas. So that's why we're not seeing a whole lot of activity, but that's going to change. So I want to run you a radar simulation overnight. And this is what it would be currently technically, but that's not quite. Okay, this is the latest run here, so we'll put this in motion. This is the HRRR, so this is the high rapid refresh. I always get that wrong. So this kind of simulates what the radar could be based on this model. Certainly not a all-encompassing model. It's been wrong before, so let's back up a little bit here. So let's see, that is 7 a.m., 6, 5, 4. Yeah, we'll start here. So this is 3 a.m. Again, this is a radar simulation. Doesn't mean it's going to be exactly like this. But, it's, it could be. This is overnight. So then this would be 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So again, kind of what we were talking about before, if we do see this line of some thunderstorms move in, it would probably be the early morning hours. So if you have plans that time of day, and most of us do for getting up, or some of us are getting up, so just be prepared for that. Hello, Mr. Wynn. What do you think about our contras coming in? I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but they came. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, they came in. That was awesome. Nathan showed me that. That was really, really cool. I like the color too. Really awesome. For a second there, I thought it was related to the weather. I was like, oh, shoot. Anyway, so this is one radar simulation for overnight. And then if we go to another, what we call a convection allowing model, let's see if this is the latest. Not quite, but we'll go with this one. Let's see if we can get over it. Okay, so there's 1 a.m. to 3. So this model, again, you can see this line starting to form west of us, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and then pretty much by sunrise it's out of here. So again, that's another situation we could see in the morning. I think now these two models aren't the end all be all, but it's something that is probably going to be pretty accurate, I would guess, based on the atmospheric setup. So I would just say that the biggest threat, severe weather threat with this potential line of storms would be wind, not necessarily hail. Now, of course, we had this big storm in May, so it's nothing like that. So don't get the wrong idea. But it could definitely be a little windy, a little gusty early in the morning. So my fellow GISD bus drivers that might be watching, maybe already in bed, but just keep that in mind. In the morning, we could see some rough weather. Nothing like May, but we could see some rough weather in the morning that may bring back very quickly. May bring back some memories, but don't let that scare you too much. All right, so really, there's not anything to be terribly concerned about. I came on for a couple reasons. One is been a little while, so kind of rusty. So kind of wanted to come on and kind of show off a couple new tools. And secondly, just to bring everybody a general awareness of what could happen overnight. Didn't want anybody to be totally caught off guard by that. Again, I'm not expecting anything terrible, but it's not out of the question that we could see some severe weather reports early in the morning. So that is not out of the question at all. All right, so don't see anything in the chat right now, so I want to make sure I wasn't missing any questions. I don't think I did. Let's see. Go here. Try this. Don't want that. Okay. Looks like I always like to double check another source, make sure I'm not missing any comments. Because what I have a chat aggregator in my broadcasting software, so sometimes it catches things, sometimes it doesn't. So I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, so like I said, nothing to really be concerned about. So now I want to kind of shift focus for any of my fellow Sexy Mustang band members that might be watching. As you know, we have our area contest on Saturday, and it's not an ideal forecast, obviously, but we're still more than 48 hours. Yeah, about 48 hours out, give or take. So a lot of the finer models don't really start picking things up until 36 hours out. So we'll probably have a much better idea tomorrow afternoonish on what might happen. Again, I say might because Mother Nature is just like that. But what we can do, though, is we can go to a couple of these models here. I don't know if I want this one. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so this is a GFS model, which, it has its good and bad days. So what we can do is we can go out, because we're about 60 hours away, give or take, from when this model was initiated, so probably a little less than that. So that's Saturday morning at 1 a.m. Okay. So again, this is a radar simulation, so it doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly like this. But, so this one model, I'm going to show you a couple different ones too. So this one model, the GFS, this is 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, and kind of forget the shading. That's the current shading for the severe weather outlook. So, nothing much. Obviously, there's rain out west of us, but not a whole lot going on. So this is 10 a.m. Nothing heavy, light rain. 1 p.m. again, kind of scattered. Now, remember, you have to understand that there's no way that a model could predict exactly where rain showers are going to be. This far out in advance. It's just, again, to give you an idea of what could happen. 4 p.m. Again, nothing crazy. Then we get into 7. You see a little bit more of a concentration out, west of us there. So that's something that we would, definitely want to be on the lookout for. And then, let's see, if we go to 9 p.m. Again, you're starting to see a concentration out here in West Texas. And then, of course, at midnight, again, not a whole lot. So this is one model. And right now, the GFS is the most favorable model for us if we want to have our area contest on Saturday. So let's hope the GFS is right. Because if the GFS is right, I think we can get it in. Now, let's go to another model. And we will go to, this is the European model, and we don't want temperature. Actually, I don't know. You know what? This one doesn't have the radar simulations. Okay, so we'll forget that one. Let's go to the North American. I think we can get... No, I don't want that. Let's go back to... Don't know if this one goes as far out as I want. Good, close. and not quite. So that's what I mean. So this is Saturday morning at 1 a.m. So we don't quite get to where we want to get. But as you can see, and that's why tomorrow is important because we'll have a better idea tomorrow on what the forecast for Saturday has the potential to look like. So that is kind of where we're at right now. And by the way, if you're watching on Instagram, I know you can't see the whole screen, and I apologize about that. Probably what I have to do is I'll probably have to do just a special broadcast for Instagram. But I appreciate you joining on Instagram. I was testing that out as well. So the bottom line for the forecast for Saturday for the Area C competition is that yes, it's definitely got a chance for rain. That's for sure. Ironically, as I mentioned, when this cold front moves through, early tomorrow morning, most likely we'll see some drier, cooler air move in. Clouds will clear out, and Saxby has a football game tomorrow night. So probably really nice and on the cool side for once. And so it's actually be really nice weather. And Friday's not looking too bad. It's just when we get into Saturday, it gets a little more murky. And by the way, you may have seen that the makeup day, if we don't play on Saturday, would be Monday. And that forecast probably looks worse than Saturday. So Monday's not a given either. So it is probably won't see a good clear weather day until Wednesday of next week. So that tells you what kind of pattern we're going to be in for the next 7 days or so. Okay, so let's go back to the radar here before we wrap this up. Okay, this is, let me get rid of this. Okay, interesting. And I think this is fairly recent development. Let's put this in motion. Zoom out here a little bit. Actually, I'm going to change some of the settings here. I think. No, that's not what I was looking for. I was trying to get more of the history. Well, oh, right here. Okay, so I want to go back in time a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we are starting to see some, some further south development. All right. So let's kind of zoom in on that. Okay. So as you can see, starting to see some development north of Abilene. This line is starting to want to creep down as far as not movement, but as far as thunderstorms forming, wanting to form more to the south, which is kind of what we thought. So if that were to continue, you start to see, if you remember that model, you start to see this line ultimately fill in, and that's what would move across. Now, I will say, if it does start to do this between now and 11, I think we would see a sooner time to where that squall line would move through. So it wouldn't be as late as 5 o'clock. It might be more like 3 o'clock. So we'll have to watch it, though. Of course, I'll be watching it. Now, I'm not going to watch it all night because I'm going to go to bed. But I'll be watching it till I go to bed. I'll put it that way. Okay, so the bottom line is that we have a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight with the cold front. Not a big severe weather threat from a widespread standpoint, but it is definitely a possibility. I think most likely most of us would see just general thunderstorms, maybe a little loud, but I think most of them will behave. And then we will see that system move through, and we'll be done the rest of the day, and we'll probably be done most of Friday, which, of course, from the band standpoint, we don't have anything on Friday, except practice, of course. And so, we'll probably be okay there too. It's just, unfortunately, the way it's timed out is that, Saturday is, it's not, like I said, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. It's going to be a washout at all. I think that, it's just, I think we're going to navigate some things. So, more on that tomorrow and certainly into Friday when we have a much better idea of what we're going to be dealing with. But as far as tonight goes, like I said, the reason I came on was just, one, been a little while. I think you've heard me talk about it in my morning weather videos. It's been over a month since we had rain. It has sprinkled at my house the last couple of days, so we broke that streak. But, it's just been a very dry period. And so, now we have a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Some could be strong. I wanted to come on and say, hey, just be on the lookout for that. But again, I'm not expecting anything crazy. As always, if that dirt were to change, certainly change in a dramatic way, then I would pop back on and walk you through it. So I'd be remiss if I didn't take some moment before we sign off to thank my lovely sponsors, as you see on the right of your screen. And I know you can't see it if you're on Instagram, but Ballard Boutique and Bakery, Amen Plumbing, Bacon Roofing, all great sponsors that help make this live stream happen. So I really do appreciate you guys. Our sponsors, and if you haven't visited them, go visit them. Nobody wants to have plumbing problems or roof problems, but if you got them, then they'll definitely take care of you. So I can vouch for all of them because I've used them all. Okay, so with that, I don't see anything else in the chat, and I am going to check one other thing real quick to make double, triple sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, well, good. Well, that means my computer program is working. I may do a special Instagram chat for any band kiddos that want to, and adults that want to talk about Saturday. I may do that, just special. But like I said, the bottom line for tonight, and we'll put this in motion before we sign off. And nothing much to worry about. Let me scoot this over. Not much to worry about right now, but again, you can start to see that line form out west of us. So definitely something we're going to have to watch. I don't expect anything before that, but again, Mother Nature is crazy sometimes, and I'll definitely be watching that. And before I go to bed, if there's a reason to come on, and, if there's some kind of watch to shoot or something like that, definitely come on and talk about that. Don't anticipate that, but if we do, we'll definitely address that with you. But again, bottom line is this. I wouldn't expect a whole lot of widespread severe weather. Maybe hopefully just some isolated reports, if anything at all. That would be nice if that were the case. And like I said, first, after this moves through, the weather will be rather nice for Halloween. And for at least the first part of Friday, and then we're going to get into the uncertainty, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow and into Friday. All right, don't see anything else in the chat, so I'm going to sign off. As always, I'm watching others. You don't have to. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we will see you next time. And talk to you soon.